Nobody is ever going to be able to predict what's going to work or not, what will be a hit or not, what will be something that might take you from where you are to someplace else. You can't possibly predict it. So this year, why don't you try something starting now and stick with it for at least a year and potentially longer, because you'll be able to pivot at that point. But what you want to do is try things. Doesn't matter what you try, just try things. If you've never done something you want to do, try it. Specifically, stuff related to music, especially. A lot of people don't know how to get themselves out there. The truth is, you haven't found the thing that works for your style of getting out there yet. You just haven't found it. And it's probably because you haven't tried enough things. That's the answer for how to work in this world today. I've said before, I'll say it again. Drawing parallels between content creation and being a musician is like what there is now. It's not just in the music world. In the comedic world, it's the same thing. I saw a great Sebastian Maniscalco interview on Lewis Howes, or however you pronounce his last name, his podcast. And it was great because you really got to see somebody like Sebastian be like, listen, you never know why things hit. It could just be a moment in time that works. You would expect the guy who's going to be in the kitchen, he said, for an hour to cook something better than the one that takes 5 minutes. But it's not always the case. Sometimes you just put things out and find your lane by just simply doing. And he hasn't really been able to conquer social media the way he expects he should be able to. And he's continuously trying more things to be able to figure that out. So it's the same thing outside of the comedy world, anything creative. The way to reach people today, if you want to reach them, no matter what you're doing, music, comedy, art, any kind, literally anything, just any message at all. You're trying to reach people, the way to do it is through social media, and then finding your lane. What it means is you're giving the audience something to connect to, something to relate to that they like, that they associate with you. That's all. And it doesn't even have to be they like. It could be they hate it so much they want to watch it. I'm not saying aim for that, but what I'm saying is there's just got to be something people latch onto. And if you don't try enough things, you'll never figure out what that is. And you don't even have to show your face. Dan Worrell is doing this whole thing anonymously. And you could do the same exact thing. You don't have to be out there. So there's really no excuses. Yes, it takes time and energy. But what I'm saying is, devoting all your time to what you want to do. Like, for example, if you want to be someone who's known as being a songwriter and you devote all your time to writing songs, what I am suggesting is taking who you already are, your personality, the thing you don't have to try in order to do and to show people, just who you are, and actually speak some of that into a camera or some way to get it where now people can witness you. That's what I'm saying. That's why there's not a clear-cut lane for anyone, because everyone has something slightly different they bring to the table with who they are, and how that would come across in a way people will like is completely unknown by everyone. Nobody knows. You can't ask, what should I do to get my music out there? You haven't tried enough things. You haven't figured out what to do yet. All right? This isn't like somebody can give you an answer no matter what. And that's why it's silly to pay people to figure this out for you. You just try enough things consistently, and you got to not care what people think about any of them. You have to care what you think. The worst thing I think people do is focus group what they're doing, because everyone's opinion is flippant. It's based on the moment, the day, the year, the time of hour of what they did before. They're never going to give you their real what the truth is, because there is no truth. It's all subjective opinion. So as a result, why even ask? Just put stuff up continuously, consistently. Find your lane somehow. Somehow. And if you think you're not good enough, you are. You are good enough, no matter what it is. that you're trying to do. You're good enough at it because you don't have to be the best to offer something. You know, people who want to get something from watching videos on YouTube or anywhere else, they're not looking for somebody to be in a suit and tie in terms of their aura, a complete extreme professional, the best at everything to give them information. They just want to relate. They want to relate. It doesn't have to be the most perfect anything. You don't have to look more professional than you really do normally. You don't have to sound different than you really talk normally. You just should be you without trying to be anybody else. That's it. And that's the part that's hard to swallow, because that means once you're like that, you won't edit things. So it'll be easier. So you'll be able to put stuff out more because you won't be trying to make everything perfect. Because that's the disastrous road everyone goes down with the negative self-talk of their stuff isn't good enough. And it's why they never actually get anywhere, because they're not trying enough things. They're not putting themselves out there enough. They're not willing to mess up enough. They're not willing to figure it out over enough time. You know, Sebastian said something very interesting on that interview. He said, you know, we realized we're not having any guests on our show, and a lot of other people who make it, who are comedians with podcasts, all have guests. Maybe that's what we should do. We've been trying it for the past year. We're still not sure, you know, how to do it, but we're continuously trying it. We'll see. We don't know if it's going to work out yet or not with that as a concept. And he tried it for a year. That's the part that hit for me, was like, you never know if it's going to work or not until you do enough of it. You know how many people do 3, 4 attempts, 5, and then give up? Oh, it's not working. I didn't get the results I want, so I'm giving up. That's not the way you should look at it. You should look at it like the journey is the thing you need to be excited about. The journey could be long. Be prepared. Pack a lunch. You'll be okay. Nothing terrible is going to happen when things might not go right for a long time. Keep doing. Keep trying new things. A lot. Don't stop until a long enough time goes by where you can really judge whether this is working or not, or you should be changing, pivoting, doing something. But what I'm saying is never stop until you get what you're looking for. And with this mindset, you won't care as much about the numbers, the likes, the views. You won't care. Because if that's the case, if you don't care, you can keep going and keep being you without that negative pulling you down of nobody likes it. Maybe I shouldn't do this. It's all negative self-talk. You are destroying yourself with your negative self-talk. I can tell you this because I once did the same. And it's actually it's not a fight that ever really ends. That's the other thing I took from that amazing interview with Sebastian. He's saying he's negative right up until the minute he goes on stage, he's still negative. He's negative his entire time preparing, all the days prior. He's in his mind, he's worried it's not going to work. People are not going to like me. Am I still funny? And he's successful still worrying about this. You know, very well off, still worrying about all of this. So don't feel like you, who may be not as well off, not as well known, don't feel like you're special in that. Everyone still has these negative voices. The video I made where people had the hearing stuff going on, any kind of damage to their hearing, and they're, you know, worried they're alone. They feel like they're the only one. They can't do what they want anymore. This is their worries. None of it's true. And by making that video, I saw a ton of people comment amazing things about how that's something that's happening with them and they got over it. That's something it went away. They got used to it. They learned to work around it. And you see how many people have these issues, and that's just the people commenting. Can you imagine how many people really have those issues? It's the same thing with negative self-talk, especially on the successful level. It's rare to find people talking about it, but it exists in almost everyone, especially the successful people, because they're worried that they won't keep it, that this could be the end of it. No matter how much success they've had, no matter how high they climbed, that's still the fear. It never goes away. So you fight it every day. You get better at fighting it. Like somebody who's trained, you get better at fighting that voice over time. Start fighting it immediately. You got no choice. if you do want to achieve something more than what you're currently achieving, whatever it is, it's different for absolutely everyone. You're not alone. The negative voice is in every single person. That's what I believe. It's just some people learn how to quiet it down better. That's it. And you won't ever hear a lot of these people talk about it because a lot of them still believe if they talk about it, it becomes real. And there's a truth to that too. Don't speak your negative thoughts out loud, especially to yourself. Don't speak it internally. Don't speak it externally. Do not be speaking about what you're saying, that you can't do this and you can't do that. You do your best to not be saying that stuff because it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you at all, especially not to compare where someone else is and where you're not. It means absolutely nothing. Everyone's journey is completely different. So stop spending even a moment doing that. It's not helping you. This year, try to make these changes and then see what happens this time next year. That's what I want you to do. All right. It means a lot to me, especially helping get some kind of message like this out to people is so important. It doesn't matter where it comes from, too. That's why I could take a lot from that Sebastian Maniscalco interview, because this kind of inspiration of what needs to be shared, it comes from everywhere. And you never know what's going to take off. I never knew I'd be good at talking to people at all. And maybe I'm not. But it's something that I think has helped some people. And to me, it makes it worthwhile. But if I never tried things, I would have never found that I'm halfway decent at this. Ever. So I hope you liked it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, because it gets this message out. And people like me and you need to hear it. We need to. So don't keep it in. You could become someone positive for everyone around you also. Or maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're the funny guy. Maybe you're the neurotic guy. A lot of stuff he is just like me. I am neurotic as hell. The other day I cooked like smoked chicken, like these chicken thighs. I cooked them on the smoker, and I'm pretty sure I cooked them one day too late because every time I eat them, I got to run to the bathroom after. But they taste delicious. But I can't eat them because I'm pretty sure I was one day too late on cooking them, and they're no longer what I would call bacteria free. So even though I smoked them forever, hours, not enough, on a low temperature, they crisped up nice, but still, sickness. So anyway, talk to you guys soon. I hope you dig it. Happy New Year. Everybody remember one thing. You got this. Only you. You got this. Take it easy.